Hello guys and welcome to another all-new Couchisode, and today we're going to be talking about some really special racing games for the Amiga and the PC. And what about you, Blade?
I'll just bring utter chaos, so stick around.
Welcome back, guys, to another whole new Couchisode. We hope that you had a great week, and today we're gonna jump right on into very special, or some very special racing games. At least that's what I'm gonna be talking about today for the Amiga and the PC. But first, let's talk about Supercars II from 1991 for the Amiga, and this was developed by Magnetic Fields and Gremlin Graphics. So Supercars II is the successor of Supercars from the previous year, released for the Amiga. I will talk about Supercars II because it was actually the first game that I've played from the series, and only later on I came to get my hands on the first one, and this was like rather a few years later. But the graphical improvements and so on that Supercars 2 had made it for me a much worthy game than it was the first one, although the first one was also a very nice game. If you are a fan of Micro Machines or even Iron Man Stewart's Off-Road, this is definitely one that you have to play. Just like the ones we mentioned, it's a top-down racing game with just a little bit of spice. While in all these other titles the idea was just to drive and score the top places to continue in the championship, on this one we get the addition of weapons. So particularly 2 rockets that you can launch either forward or backwards towards other cars. In each race you have 10 computer opponents to play against. Difficulty settings usually change mainly the game speed, but it doesn't do much regarding the difficulty of the opponent. So they pretty much stay the same, it's just that the speed of the game changes. And the better you get placed in races, the more money you win to buy upgrades for your vehicle. Now, talking about these upgrades, besides races, you can also earn money from interviews, sponsorship meetings. The better the answers, the more you can earn. Upgrades go from the SAD missiles to nitro packs, engine power, and so on. So it's a bit similar to what we've seen in this kind of genre, like other games, like I was mentioning the Iron Man Ivan Iron Man Stewart's Off-Road. You can use those to improve. And although, for example, you can put it on medium difficulty, which is a little bit slower than the hard difficulty, as you progress and you upgrade, for example, the car's engine, what's going to happen is going to get as fast as if you were in hard difficulty. So it just gives you a little bit of, step up so that you can play and not be overwhelmed by the fact that the game is so fast. It offers the possibility of 2-player horizontal split screen. However, the slight disadvantage is that since you don't see the whole track while the screen is split, the view distance is very limited, and it's key when you're playing against friends that you know the track already, because you already know what's coming. It's a very fun game. However, I found that while playing it on harder levels, as I was just saying, because of the speed, it becomes extremely fast and quite unbalanced, because it's annoying to bump in other cars because they are always throwing you into the walls and just making you slow down and stuff like that. So it's a very nice game. I had really lots of fun of it. And one particular thing about this game was that I found out that when you look at the high scores, or not the high scores, but the best times of each track, they actually grabbed on very well-known racers, or in this case pilots, and they kind of changed it. For example, you have Ayrton Sendup, you have Nigel Mansell, and you have Alan Phosphate. which is so much fun because it was such a nice wordplay with the names and so on. It's a great game. It's one of those that it's like on the top 100 Amiga games, at least for myself. I think that this is one of those games that is really a must play for the Amiga, and definitely was quite interesting to play with the joystick, because at that time there were no steering wheels or anything like that. And it was a good alternative to Micro Machines, which I spent like a lot of time playing, like probably many of you played Micro Machines in the past anyways. So did you play this one, Blade?
It's actually,
I think you have an Amiga.
Yeah,
you have an Amiga right there.
Right here now. I haven't played everything yet.
Exactly.
So this game
you should try this
isn't
one.
strange for me. Yeah, I'm looking at the gameplay, and I think I actually played this one back then, but I really don't remember much about it.
You probably did. You probably did. It's one of
Most
those
likely.
like classics, anyways.
Yeah.
So, what do you have for us today?
Okay, so I'm going to talk about the Dreamcast, the almighty Dreamcast, and I'm going to travel back to 2001 to play a game called Ooga Booga. This is a game I'm betting not a lot of people have played, at least in Portugal or in Europe, because this had to be imported from the US. This game only came out in North America. And
Not really, no.
now this basically is a party game. I call this a party game because it's only fun to play with friends. You can play this either on the couch. That's the proper way to play this. You can play this online. You could back then already, but it was crap. It lagged like hell. It also had a solo mode, but the solo mode mainly was used to teach you how to play the game and how to get your skills going with some stuff in the game. But what you can do, you have 3 basic play modes in this game. You have the deathmatch, where you face off your opponents in an island. What characters have you got to play? You have the kahunas to play with. You basically start with 4 kahunas. You have the hottie, the fatty, the twitchy, and the hoodoo. Well, you can basically see what the names refer to, what type of player you can get there, or what type of character. A balanced one, a strong one, a fast one, or a spellcasting one.
Well, the fatty one definitely refers to someone like me, like a big person, I guess.
It was the DJE.
DJE.
Now, you can actually unlock a few other characters by playing, but I'm not going to get into that. I'm just going to tell you right about this game. And you had this deathmatch mode where you just went full mayhem on the island. You threw shrunken heads at your enemy, you got some power-ups, you got spells, and every time you hit your opponent you got points. At the end of each round you would just see who scored more points and you would win the round. And after several rounds you would have the winner decided. This is basically it. This was the game. Then you had the second mode, that was the trampling mode, where you needed to ride a boar and trample your opponents while riding the boar. Whoever scored more points trampling their opponents would win the round, and same system as in the deathmatch. Then you'd have a third play mode that was like island football, where you were riding the boar, every player was riding a boar, and you would just have to knock around a volcanic rock and score goals. This was basically this game, and it was so ridiculously fun. The graphics weren't fantastic, they were cartoony but basic, but they did the job pretty well. And they just kept talking and sending little remarks along the game while you played. But the fun of this was really having your friends near you in the couch playing this, because you'd have a blast. You wouldn't care who win or lose. This would just be fun. Seriously. You'd have a laugh. It was a great game. I'm betting many of the people in Europe at least haven't played this game. I have the imported one with a different US box and all. And it's very cool, and if you get a chance to try this one out, just do, because it's cool, but grab some friends to play this. Seriously do, it's fun. It's ridiculously fun.
Yeah, I mean, the Dreamcast was not a console that I had, and I think I knew like one or two people that had the console. I mean, we already know that, due to the, marketing, whatever shenanigans that happened with the Dreamcast, that especially in Portugal, although we were more of a Sega country, let's say, more than Nintendo.
What killed the Dreamcast really was the flop with the Sega Saturn. They killed it very early, and then the Dreamcast was very easily pirated very early on with the Utopia boot disc, and this actually killed the console because Sega couldn't hold it on the market.
But I mean, other than that, I mean, aside from the story that killed the console or whatever, I think that even in Portugal, I'm not sure. I mean, I didn't have, but this is my perception, is that the game catalog was not that extensive as it should have been in other regions. But I mean,
that long on the market. Seriously.
No, exactly. That's why I'm saying that it probably wasn't that extensive, anyways. But we already know about the story of this great console, and we just gave one away recently in our anniversary. So if the guy that got it is watching this, I hope you're having fun. Anyways,
and you send us a picture. We're still waiting.
Exactly, it did. We're still waiting for that picture. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So let's move on to the next one, and another racing game. This time is for the PC. A very good one, actually, a very impressive one. It's called Indianapolis 500, the simulation. This is from 1989, and this was developed by Papyrus Design and published by Electronic Arts. Now, we have mentioned this game here before when we talked about Jeff Crammond's F1 GP as one of the first ever racing simulation games, and for a very good reason. For 1989, and a game that ran off a single floppy disk, this was amazingly pulled off. Indianapolis 500 or Indy 500, please do not mistake this one with IndyCar Racing from 1993, although it was from the same series of games. This was actually the first one, or the ultimate predecessor and so on. Indy 500, as you used to call it, attempts to simulate the full IndyCar experience in the Indianapolis circuits with 33 cars racing against each other. It is supposed to have not only the car numbers and grid, but also the small little details of the 1989 IndyCar Championship. So this was a fully licensed game. The game offers us 4 game settings that goes from a 10-lap race with no damage and yellow flags to a 200-lap race, which I believe, I don't really know much about IndyCar racing, but I think that's what was back then. It was 200 laps. I mean, that was just a circular circuit anyways. There is also practice and qualifying sessions. In practice, you can change your car setups and take them to the track for testing, and qualifying, is pretty much self-explanatory. Failing to perform the qualifying sessions will push you to the back of the grid. Now, regarding the simulation, it's on the car setup that we really see the greatness of this game and how detailed it was. There are several settings to be changed, like wings, suspension, tires, shocks, wheel cambers, gearbox ratios. I mean, you name it, you could do everything like that. You could even save the setups of those cars in a floppy disk and then load them later on for other races. And you could do it like every time differently as you please. Obviously, for me as a kid that was playing this, I really didn't care that much about this, and I just went straight stock. But it was nothing short of impressive to have this type of customization. I mean, I had no idea what was a wheel camber. Now that I actually, I'm a fan of F1, and I actually see what is a wheel camber. It's the inclination that wheels have to the sides, like both turning a bit more inside or outside anyways. As for the race itself, it would also be possible to see our opponents suffer from random mechanical failures, just like in a real race, while ours would be pretty much more of a control problem, like your tires blew up because you pushed it too hard. So that was one of the things you didn't see, like random mechanical failures happening with you, just with other players. Additionally, what it could happen to our cars was we could blow up the engine if we were revving too high. So that's one of the things that we need to watch out. And this is similar to also what happened in NASCAR racing, which is another great racing game that I love very much. You could also blow up the engine like this. So one of the most acclaimed games of its time for its realism, but that unfortunately it didn't really blow up in sales. It is estimated that it only sold like 200,000 copies, as stated in an article of GameSpot in 2004. So again, I think this was really the beginning stages of simulation. I know that we had attempts on this in games that go back as far as the ZX Spectrum in the early 80s or maybe mid 80s, something like that. But I think that's, after the 90s or in the beginning of the 90s, we started seeing a lot more, development as machines got a little bit more powerful. We started seeing a lot more development on this and being able to have more realism and start seeing something that is very much part of the gaming scene today, which is simulation games. So that's something that we that these games really paved the way for in the beginning, and now we see it as a very common genre. So I had a lot of fun with this one. I'm not sure if this is actually available on any digital platform. I did not check.
No idea.
But if you guys, just drop by GOG or anything else like that, and you might be able to. If not, Uncle Google is your friend, as we usually say, and this is readily available in some sites that have this type of content. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this one, because I really did play a lot of it and found it very, very nice. Also played the 1993 version, the IndyCar racing one, which was already in 3D and much better graphics and so on, and much better customization options and something like that. So Blade, what are we going to bring up today to close the store? Let's say like that.
Can you hear that? Listen.
No. Wait. Ah, I hear it.
Freshener.
The air freshener.
Air freshener.
I might have a surprise for our viewers that there is something on the works for the air freshener moment. But I heard that it's on its way, and it should give us a good intro for this. But more on that on the upcoming weeks and maybe months. We don't know when it's going to come out, but be there because we're gonna launch something really funny.
Yeah.
So
be there.
What are you going to bring up to it? Exactly. What are you going to bring up?
I'm going to talk about a game that a really good friend of mine called me the other day and said, "Hey, I just played this very stupid game. You have to play this." And I said, "Cool, if it's a stupid game, I'm on it." And
Is it like Supermarket Shriek? Because that's stupid.
Yeah, it's good, stupid, but it's fun. It's fun as hell. It seriously is. It's on the same level, but different.
Okay.
So I'm gonna talk about a game called Gang Beasts. I don't know if you've played this one, but if anyone has played this one, this plays exactly like Human Fall Flat. You just have a jelly-like man with all the physics going on. You could use the right arm, the left arm, jump, and this is basically what you'll do. This game has a single-player mode that's you can play locally and just play this online. This game came out in 2017. It was actually in early access since 2014, if I'm not mistaken. And this basically is, you get several arenas in very safe places with no hazards around you. You go to the stupidest places to have these jelly-like beings fighting each other. And it's just like, seriously, imagine Human Fall Flat with a lot of players in the mix, and you're just all bouncing around and throwing punches and kicks and jumping around and dragging people around to the hazards in the scenario, throwing them down buildings, throwing them anywhere they would die, and just beating the crap out of each other. And you're just weird jelly man you can personalize to hell. Jesus, you can create every type of jelly man you want. Really, I played around with customization a bit and I just said, whatever, this one looks stupid enough, let's do it. This is a game that you won't actually play for hours and hours on end, but it's a game, I can assure you, if you want to relax a bit, just fire this one up. It's on Game Pass, it's where I played it, and it seriously is fun. You go online, I think I never won a game, but I had a hell of a lot of fun with it, and I laughed all the way through. It was so fun. Try. It doesn't matter if you win or lose, it's really fun, and it's stupid.
If it's on Game Pass, I'm sure that it will be.
It is.
I mean, I'm gonna try it for sure.
I think you can get it in every system except for the Nintendo Switch. At least when I checked, I think the original came out on the PlayStation 4 and then came out for the other systems. But I actually played it with Game Pass on the PC, but you can play it on the Xbox. So
I don't think it makes any difference.
No,
I don't
it doesn't.
think it makes any difference if it's not available on the Nintendo Switch.
I think you'll have a blast with this one anywhere. Seriously, if you want to have fun, relax, whatever, you say, what? Have fun with a fighting game? Yeah.
I gotta take a look at it.
It's stupid.
I haven't tried it yet, and I've been actually scouring Game Pass for those new indie games that are coming out that seem to be very good. I got a stuff coming out. I got a few, advices from some friends that were saying that you have to play this because this is really good. You have to bring it to the channel because it's a great game. I'm gonna be trying some new games, especially because, as you can see for my background, I'm not really at home, so I'm on holidays. So I will be trying out some more, a little bit more new games, let's say, or more time to try some new games. And I hope that I can really try this one that you just mentioned, and there's a couple others I want to try.
Fun.
Exactly. It's very much fun, but fun like our episodes or our Couchisodes actually. But unfortunately, all that is good has to come to an end, as I usually say.
Sadly.
And so will our Couchisode end for today, guys. You know what we want? We want you to like this video, share with your friends. You already know what you have to do. It really helps us going on, helps us keep strong, and helps us to bring back Quake to the Portuguese episodes, because he's been feeling a little bit under the weather. I had to bring him in these episodes because he always seems to be forgotten here. But anyways, guys, you know what to do. Leave a like if you like, a dislike if you didn't like. Don't forget to subscribe our channel and keep us growing. And it will be all for today. And I guess that we'll see each other next week, and game on.
See everyone next week. Have fun and game on.